see the video feed. Hopefully it doesn't stop. I think we're good to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the High Point Huddle. We are here for our third episode of the show, streaming live here over on Twitter or X. If you're nasty, I know Dez likes the name X a lot more. He's still waiting for his check in the mail from Elon. We're here joined by the one and only Lisa Ann. Lisa, how are you doing? We're very happy to have you here tonight.
I'm doing great. I'm picking up a little background sound and trying to find where it's going from. But we are in week 2. We've got 2 games on a Monday night, which is NFL overload. We can't get enough. Some excitement, some disappointment, some surprises, but we're here for all of it.
Absolutely. We are here for all of it. Dez, how are you doing? Nice win for your Dallas Cowboys this week. I'm sure we'll talk about it plenty.
Absolutely. You just summed it up for me. So I'm doing absolutely amazing. My Cowboys, they just own something. 70-10 for the past 2 weeks.
Listen, Dez, I will say pump the brakes a little bit. You played Zach Wilson this week.
Here you go.
Zach Wilson this week. No, but dude, listen, I will give – first of all, I have to apologize, I think, to Trayvon Diggs immediately.
Thank you.
Right into it. Okay? Trayvon's playing like the best corner in the league right now. It's early. Mm-hmm. It's early. But your prediction of saying he's the number one corner in the league is accurate. He has – Dez, a little stat for you? Guess what his passer rating when targeting by opposing quarterbacks is so far this year?
Tell me what it is.
1.
Sound like a number one cornerback to me.
Yeah, the passer rating, for those who don't know, if you spiked the ball directly into the ground, is 39. So he is 39 times harder to throw to than spiking the ball into the ground. So there you have it.
Number one corner in the league.
Number one corner in the league. Lisa, do you have a different pick for the number one corner in the league, or is it Trayvon?
Absolutely not. It's definitely Trayvon. And yeah, the Cowboys are looking, everything's just feeling right. I'm confident, excited about this season, but at the same time, I feel the same way about the Jets, this matchup in particular. And I just don't want to get too ahead of myself.
Yeah, it was a really good game. The Cowboys are looking absolutely dominant so far, especially on the defensive side of the ball. As Dez mentioned, that unit's fantastic. The coaching is fantastic. All around, they are slated to have a fantastic season. They're currently my Super Bowl pick. I don't know if I mentioned that. Dez, before the season.
You never mentioned that.
Listen, before the season started, I had the Cowboys going to the Super Bowl and losing to the New York Jets with Aaron Rodgers. Now that Rodgers is gone, I have the Dallas Cowboys defeating the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I think we're going to see a Super Bowl just like what happened with Tampa Bay and the Chiefs not that long ago, where that defensive line just got after Mahomes over and over and over, and he couldn't have the time to think. That's what I think is going to happen this year. I think the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm saying it in my Steelers jersey. I feel disgusting. You're welcome.
I do think the Cowboys is going to win the Super Bowl this year, but it's not because of your reason, Luke. Like, Michael Parsons, man. Like, I don't care who the Cowboys playing. The way Michael Parsons is performing, like, I'm not even being biased because I'm a Cowboy lover. This dude is the best player in the National Football League right now. It's obvious he wants it more than everybody else. So, and I think that defense, Trayvon, Stephon, Curse, and the rest of those guys, they feeding off of him. So, and I'm pretty sure it's rolling over to the offense too, and Coach McCarthy and on top with Steven and Jerry. So, yeah, I believe in my boys. What you think, Miss Lisa?
Man, I feel the same way. When we look at our offense this year, I was discouraged a bit not having Zeke. I thought that was going to be a big missing link. 12 touchdowns last season, wondering where they're going to go. I don't want to put too much pressure on Tony Pollard and break him down too young because he's so fast and light and elusive. And I love watching him, but at the same time, I kind of want to, can we take care of him? CeeDee Lamb is just electrifying to watch, and getting our tight ends involved is the next layer. I'd love to see Michael Gallup more involved. And I feel like this could be the Wiley week where it's like, oh, it's week 3. Yeah, Michael Gallup's going to have a big week. And none of us are going to take him off our bench in fantasy. He's going to sit there and put up 2 touchdowns, 82 yards. It's going to feel really bad.
Well,
yeah, I definitely can see that. I will say, Dez wants Kyle Pitts.
Well, let me touch on that. Like, I think we're not seeing much of Michael Gallup because of Talbot. I think Will McClay and those guys believe in him. So I kind of think that Gallup and Talbot are sharing, plays, at that third receiver position. So I don't know. Let's see who take the reins. We don't know who our third receiver is right now. That's what's really going on right now. So
I agree
Yeah.
with you. Actually, there is kind of a battle for that wide receiver 3 spot in Dallas. We'll talk a little bit more about the Cowboys later. We're gonna give Dez the spotlight for his little Cowboys segment of the week, as we always do. Some bigger headlines that I want to talk about as well as we get into the top of the show stuff here. The Broncos blew it, man. They blew a horrible lead to Dez Bryant's noted favorite team in the NFL, the Washington Commanders. Sam Howell, 2-0 Dez. Talk to him.
Hey, I'm not surprised. I've been telling you guys, hey, we can fact check, right, Luke?
Oh, we can fact check it. We have plenty of clips.
Like I can't believe, first and foremost, supporting the Commanders, but it's real. When you look at the Commanders, I always believed in Sam Howell when he was at North Carolina. Thought he was a gunslinger. One thing about Coach Mac Brown, he know how to pick a quarterback. Yeah. And I just believe they have all that talent, on the offensive side of the ball. And then they got, what's his name? I can't pronounce his name correctly.
McLaurin?
No, the offensive coordinator.
Oh.
Eric Bieniemy.
Yes. Like he's like, whenever Ron Rivera, when those guys went out and got that hire, I was like, yeah, the Commanders have the right talent for his offensive scheme. So yeah.
No, I love that take. I think Bieniemy is definitely an underrated role in the success of the Commanders so far this season. He's an extremely talented head coach candidate. I said head coach because I believe he should be a head coach. I think it's honestly ridiculous that he's been relegated to a coordinator after all the years of success in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. I mean, they're definitely missing him over there in Kansas City. And we saw that this week against the Jaguars as he struggled to score. But another headline I want to touch on here before we get going is Dez. I don't know if you've ever even heard of this guy's name until the start of the season, but Puka Nacua, Rams wide receiver. He is leading the league all time for receptions for a player's first 2 games. This guy came out of nowhere, 5th round pick, I believe. Cooper Kupp's off the field. He's taken full advantage. He is dominating back-to-back games, well over 100 receiving yards, well over 10 targets, well over 10 catches. I mean, Dez, talk to me a little bit about this guy.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much about him, but these past 2 weeks, I've learned a lot about him. This dude is performing. You get what I'm saying? And he's starting to, showcase his skills while Cooper Kupp is out. And, I think he's gonna end up being one of those premier receivers for Coach McVay. I can see
he's
it
wearing
happening.
Robert Woods' old number, and that's what people are getting a lot of shades of him out there. He could be that guy who's running a lot of those shorter, intermediate routes, high volume target guy alongside Cooper Kupp. It's definitely exciting. Lisa, were you able to get any Puka on your fantasy teams? I struggled.
I didn't, but I'll say this too. Puka also landed in the greatest situation. Matthew Stafford, a veteran quarterback who can really make him a playmaker, right? There's that going back and forth there too. And when you have the trust of a veteran quarterback, man, you're in your feels because you're doing it right. This isn't just only person available. You expect so much more from Van Jefferson, who's been in the system longer. And yet,
Absolutely.
Just the forgotten guy. And I drafted so many shares of Van Jefferson late in like best ball because I was like, oh, he's got to go off, here and there. I'm excited to see these kids. Let's also the running back, Kyron Williams. I mean, I do have some shares of Kyron Williams. I didn't play in week 1. I was apprehensive to play in week 2 because I'm like, this could be fluky. Let's face facts. It's not fluky. He's already got 29 carries, 144 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, this kid's killing it right now.
Yeah, he's getting insanely high utilization rates. I mean, I think with Cam Akers on the trade block, it is the Kyron Williams show for the Los Angeles Rams backfield for the rest of the season. I'm very excited to watch him play. And talking about the Rams again, I think that's something that we need to talk about more is Matthew Stafford is looking good. There were a lot of reports about him maybe retiring this offseason. He had that elbow injury last year. People were kind of starting to write this team off, thinking that they were going to be maybe in the conversation for Caleb Williams, getting that top 5 pick in the draft. The Rams look good. They beat the crap out of the Seahawks in week 1. They gave the 49ers a tough game. I mean, that's 2 divisional matchups, right? But the Rams look good, and this offense looks powerful without Cooper Kupp, who is their star player. Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua are carrying this offense, and that's a lot of credit to Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay. Dez, what are your thoughts on Matthew Stafford at this stage in his career with those weapons?
I mean, Matthew Stafford, he's an animal. He's a gunslinger. Look what Puka's doing. He's providing everything Matthew Stafford needs in a receiver. And I think that's it, really. That's a quick summary of what is actually happening, what Matthew Stafford needs. So what McVay is doing, I always thought he was the offensive genius. I love the fact that the Rams went after him while, being a young head coach. I think that is the way of the game right now. So it just makes sense all the way around. And when Cooper Cup is back healthy, have a strong offense. They're gonna be one of those teams that's gonna be competing at the later end of the year.
Dude, they're already really surprised me. I mean, I know I owe them a bit of an apology personally. I thought the Rams were going to have a really bad season. I thought that they were going to be a team that wins like 6 or less games. I didn't believe in their defense very much with the departures of Bobby Wagner and Jalen Ramsey. It's really just Aaron Donald over there right now that I can think of off the top of my head, who's the stars on the defense. Stafford's getting older. Cooper Kupp's injuries. Not a big Cam Akers believer. Kyron Williams has stepped up. Puka stepped up. Tutu stepped up. I thought Tyler Higbee was going to be the one who stepped up, but no, these young receivers are stepping up out of nowhere, and they're playing amazing football. So shout out to the LA Rams. They're really surprising me. Moving on here, it is Monday night. We got 2 games on here. My Pittsburgh Steelers are taking on the Cleveland Browns, but first and foremost, we're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints playing the Carolina Panthers. Dez, who are you watching in tonight's matchup and why?
Oh man, I'm watching the Carolina Panthers. I'm watching Bryce Young. I think the kid's special. I know a lot of people want to write him off. You know, when I saw him play, I felt like he was poised. I felt like he threw the ball away when it was needed. You know, I just think, he's still getting himself acclimated to the game. Young QB, I think full of talent. I think we're going to see him have a better performance today on Monday Night Football. Yeah, so that's the guy I'm watching.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. Lisa, who do you have your eye on tonight?
On the Carolina side, Hayden Hurst, I love the connection
Ooh, I
between a
love that
rookie
call.
tight end. It's so trustable. We've been waiting on this Hayden Hurst. We know the player that he is, and now he lands in a spot that's valuable. And then on the other side of the ball, I'm watching Rashid Shaheed. I mean, this kid's dynamic and fun to watch. And I think, I want a Michael Thomas resurgence. But at the same time, with this kind of quickness and competition, I just don't see it happening. And one more week for all of us who drafted Alvin Kamara, sitting him pretty on our bench for 3 weeks while he's suspended. We get you back 2 weeks. I cannot wait for your showing week after week on the turf.
Yeah, I wonder if you're seeing this. We all miss you, man. We can't wait to put
We
you in
miss
those
you,
fantasy
man.
lineups.
Yeah.
We need you
Saquon
back.
Barkley
Hey.
managers miss him right now. Just found out Saquon is definitely not playing this Thursday night.
Wow.
Yep. Saquon has an ankle injury. He's
No.
expected to miss 3 weeks with an ankle sprain. Not ideal at all. It's a pretty tough situation out there for the running backs. But listen, when it comes to the New Orleans Saints tonight, I think that Lisa took the player that I have my eye on the most, Michael Thomas. Listen, we've been waiting for Michael Thomas to have this resurgence for a long time. He's an extremely talented player who can dominate the NFL. Chris Olave is emerging as the team's wide receiver 1. But Michael Thomas, at his stage in his career, he can go out there and be a damn good wide receiver 2. And he had a really promising week 1. The Panthers secondary is a little tough, but J.C. Horn will not be out there tonight, their top defensive back. So I'm looking for Michael Thomas to have a really strong week 2 to follow up his strong week 1. Moving over to the Browns and Steelers. I got my terrible towel right here just for y'all. Let's go. Steelers are playing tonight. I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm scared. I'm kind of terrified.
You should.
I know. I think I should be. Okay,
No.
Here's the number one reason why I'm terrified, Des. Cameron Hayward, the leader of our defense, he's the heart and soul of our defensive line, especially the interior defensive line. We don't have a lot of depth there, the Pittsburgh Steelers do. We have a lot of young guys. We drafted the defensive end last year in the 3rd round. We drafted the defensive tackle in the 2nd round this year. But Nick Chubb is scary to me without Cameron Hayward in there. They already usually gash the Steelers on the ground pretty good. I think Chubb's going for over 100 yards on the ground tonight, and I'm really scared that means that the game's going to be over before it even starts.
I think Deshaun passed for 250 tonight too, as well, because let's not forget he's looking damn good.
Was he looking damn good last week, Des?
I mean, I won't say. Well, I think
okay.
he's finding his groove.
You know what? I think we can say he's looking good in all caps, but not just the word good. Not real good. He's looking good. He's elevating as we are seeing most players in the NFL getting used to the pace. It's only week 2, whatever. But I believe the Steelers are going to win tonight.
Yes.
I do believe this. There is no way Tomlin is starting out the season 0-2. And that was a whooping they took last week. Can you imagine what life has been like for the past 4 or 5 days for those players? You know what that's all about, Des? No, they're going out there and they're fighting. Now, as a fantasy manager of Nick Chubb, of course, we still want him to do well, but I'd like him to moderate a tiny bit. You know what I mean? But I get Hayward missing. That was an element I kind of forgot earlier today when I was placing some bets. But I
Yeah.
still feel the Steelers tonight.
Listen, I would be over the moon if the Steelers won tonight. I was really pleased with what I was seeing in the preseason from this offense from Kenny Pickett. A lot more explosive plays downfield, a lot more chunk, the splash plays, as Mike Tomlin likes to call them. We had nothing going against the 49ers, man. That was embarrassing. I remember last year, one of the biggest reasons I hated watching the Steelers every once in a while was Matt Canada, their offensive coordinator, was BAD bad in all caps. And I think that he needs to change something to make this offense hum. I don't know if it's more Jalen Warden alongside Najee Harris. I don't know if it's getting more George Pickens in there. But a player I am really excited to watch tonight, though, is Calvin Austin. He's a rookie that the Steelers drafted last year, missed the entire year due to a foot injury. I think that this guy is a special deep threat who could get a weekly role in this offense. And he's a guy I definitely would like to see step up tonight. And George Pickens, we need the George Pickens breakout so bad. He has the potential. We need it.
And with no Quentin Johnson, we should be having it. You should be delivering this to us, okay? We've got
Deontay
one
Johnson's
less
out
mouth
for
to
4
feed
weeks.
out there. 4 weeks. You get it now, George. We're ready for it,
Well,
Please,
I
George.
think the Steelers are going to get smacked. And by the way, look.
Stop it.
Hold on. So since you guys believe in the Steelers so much, and I heard you say, Lisa, that you was betting tonight, who you player prop? Who you put the money on? Who's scoring tonight? What's the over and under for
last I checked, the total points was 38.5. Is it still at 38.5, Luke?
1 second here. I'm pulling it up. The over-under is 39 points on DraftKings.
Oh, it did move since earlier.
Okay.
I went with the Steelers and the under. These game totals have been so low, minus our Dallas Cowboys just putting up the points and somehow Daniel Jones coming to life. But we can do we have a Dallas Cowboys sounder? We're only allowed to say it so many times, Luke?
Oh, no. You guys can
we can always talk about Dallas.
If Dez is on the show, the Cowboys are always on the table for discussion every single week. We have a whole segment dedicated to the Cowboys later, Lisa. It'll be great. But okay, Dez, the line for tonight's game, the Pittsburgh Steelers are at home. The spread is the Steelers +2. Browns are favored -2 points. The money line is Pittsburgh +110. Browns -130. What do you like?
Well, first off, I think the Browns are going to squash the Steelers. So I like the Browns defense. I like the Browns defense against the Steelers offense. I think they just shut them out at home. So
I will say, shut them out, please, dude. Please, no. We scored 7 last week, man. I can't do it. I need Kenny Pickett to bounce back, but I will say the one thing that does worry me a bit is I think Deontay Johnson's really underappreciated. We haven't had a lot of the Steelers offense. He's underappreciated. Deontay's really good.
They got better talent.
Pickens is great, but I'm saying Deontay is a really good outside route runner. He's a good separator. He'll draw attention from those DBs.
Calvin Austin
hasn't done it yet, Des. We haven't seen him out there in a regular season game yet.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
We're gonna.
He's a good punt returner usually, but I think I'm excited to watch him out there run some routes.
Okay.
Well, Najee needs to get a lot more involved as well. Yeah. Come on, Najee. Come on.
I'm wearing Najee's jersey tonight. I need him. I have him in my fantasy league. I do with my friends at home in high school. I need Najee to give me 6 fantasy points tonight, or else I will cry myself to sleep. That should be pretty easy, but you never know. But yeah, I think final predictions for this game. I would like to see Calvin Austin have a big game and step up. Need George Pickens to step up. But another player that I'm really watching tonight is going to be Allen Robinson. Robinson had a sneaky good week 1. He scored over 10 fantasy points. He had some serious volume in the target share. He had some nice receptions. I think Allen Robinson's a steady presence that this wide receiver room needs right now with Deontay out. I think that him and Pickens and sprinkling in some Calvin Austin and Pat Freiermuth, I think this passing attack should still be pretty formidable. But overall, I'm very scared of Nick Chubb, and I think the Steelers might lose. But I don't put that on the record.
Bro, you such a hater of your own team. Wow.
It's called not being biased, Dez. Try it.
I mean,
try it for once.
Well,
40-0.
On the other side of that, I think a player to watch out for is Elijah Moore. You got this kid too ready to be on the come up, and we're going to start to see it this season. And Amari Cooper just opens up that opportunity. Deshaun's going to rely on him. So I think there's another player to be watching in tonight's game.
No, absolutely. Elijah Moore is very talented. And do we have official wording on if Cooper's suiting up or not?
Still has the cue, but even if he's in, how much are you going to trust him to go out there and be able to give 100%? And that's always a concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, Amari Cooper currently is. I see a video from 2 minutes ago. Amari Cooper is loosening up on the field to test out the injury, and actives are set to be posted in about 15 minutes. Oh, sorry. Rappaport literally just tweeted. Good timing. Amari Cooper, who tweaked his groin this weekend in practice and was listed as questionable, will be active tonight. So Cooper's going to be out there, but how active will he really be? Is he going to be a decoy? I still like Elijah Moore. I like to call Lisa. Moving on here, some big surprises from week 2. First and foremost, just real quick again, I got to give props to Puka Nacua before we move on. The kid's a stud. He's defying all expectations. He's literally having the best start you possibly could have to your NFL career as a wide receiver in his first 2 games. I mean, hats off to him. But, Dez, I want to talk about your favorite team in the NFL, DeAndre Swift and the Philadelphia Eagles, and talk about that amazing performance he put on Thursday Night Football this past week. Career performance.
Well, I guess it was a pretty ugly performance that he put on.
Come on.
Nah. He went out there, he balled. You know, the Eagles, they are who they are. You know, as much as I hate them, I'm not going to deny them. But
fair,
they're not messing with my Dallas Cowboys. So, you know.
When's the first Eagles-Cowboys game? That's going to be
November 5th.
You got the calendar circled. That was immediate.
Come on now. We here.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Lisa, what are you expecting from Kyren Williams moving forward? He had a great week 2 once again. Are you expecting him to be a startable running back 2 or even better for fantasy moving forward?
I feel like now I should, and I did pick him up in the waiver wire last week after his big week just in case, and now I can probably offer him out to like the Saquon Barkley manager or, you know, another running back who's fallen by the wayside, because we're going to see this Cam Akers thing is so strange. Remember early last season, we went through, you know, I want to be moved on, then all of a sudden the relationship's back together. They're like that breakup that just doesn't stick. And then here we are again thinking, okay, this is going to be a season. It's really not. I say you rock with Williams. But when it comes to Puka, you know, this is an advantage of an early player that there's not a lot of tape out there, right? Defenses are going to start to get on to him. Give him to week 5, week 6. I mean, this is electric right now, but it will simmer back down when there's tape out there and coaches are watching.
You think so? Yeah, what about Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, well, Cooper Kupp's elusive, but he does face challenges sometimes, right? They're not all in his hands. Sometimes even with the separation he could get, he can't pull it in, gets batted out. Like they just start coming for you. Remember how they used to come for you, Dez? They know you're going to make a play happen. They're all coming for you. This kid's the new one they're going to be coming for.
Absolutely. Well, you know, we playing in a new age today, you know, where you got 2 to 3 wide receivers that can go out and be a number 1 on another team. So Puka, you know, going back to what Luke was saying, he's having an outstanding year. Whenever Cooper Kupp rejoins, it's just how do you stop that with Matthew Stafford playing at a high level?
Right. That's what I was going to say too, Dez, is like even when Cooper Kupp comes back, sure, Cooper Kupp's going to get his. But right now we're seeing 2 wide receivers do it. Tutu Atwell's doing it alongside Puka. I think he's top 10 in the NFL still in receiving yards after week 2. Both of them are. Puka's top 5. I mean, if this keeps up, I think Puka's 12 targets a game is going to go down to 8 or 9. I think he's still going to be an extremely
bigger plays. You get what I'm saying? Dialing up bigger plays.
Absolutely. He's going to do it. I think that this is actually what the Rams have been looking for a while. I mean, they've been drafting these wide receivers like Tutu Atwell, like Puka, like Van Jefferson for a while now. I think they've been looking for somebody to pair up with Cooper Kupp, especially since Robert Woods has since moved on. I think they're looking for that number 2 who they can pair up with Cooper Kupp on a week-to-week basis, and Puka could be that guy. You know, and Kyren Williams is also going to have a really good year. I think that he's going to be a lot better than people expect long-term. I think that he's going to be here to stay. He looks explosive. He has juice. I like watching him play. Another guy who's been pretty explosive and had some juice so far this year is Brian Robinson. I think that he's a guy who people really underestimated following his rookie year. You know, middle round draft pick, didn't have the highest of expectations. Him and Antonio Gibson kind of split last year, but early on this season, he's been the clear-cut RB1 for the Commanders, and he's even getting more pass catching work. He caught a touchdown in week 1. He's been dominant so far. Lisa, what are your thoughts on the Commanders' backfield?
I mean, 150 yards on the season and 2 touchdowns week 2 for the kid that we didn't know if he was going to play again in the NFL is exceptional. He seems to be real comfortable with Sam Howell, and you could just see how well that's flowing. He's another one that like he runs hard. You don't want to be running in front of him to tackle him. So that's really, another asset for them. That him and McLaurin, and you've got so much going for you already. Now the tight end's getting in the fold as well.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
surprising because we expected so little.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Daz, what are your thoughts on him?
I mean, he's balling. He's been taking advantage of every opportunity. I think the Chiefs, look, I think what they're doing over there with the Commanders, what's the offensive coordinator name again?
Eric Bieniemy.
Bellamy, the enemy.
Yep.
Like, just look what he's doing over there. Like, it's awesome. Like, these guys are coming alive. He's putting these guys in the best position to go out here and make plays. And Gibson, he's going to get his chance, against a opposing team down the line. I just love that style of play. The Commanders looking like the Chiefs a little bit. I can see it come. I can see it slowly, for surely coming. I can see it.
I see the vision too. I really do. They have some quality weapons there in Washington, new ownership, new coaches. It seems like a new day for the Commanders. I love it. One last player here who's been really exceeding expectations. I mean, he's a star, but I think people were kind of afraid of what Brandon Ayuk did in week 1 and how it was going to impact him. But Deebo Samuel continues to be Deebo Samuel.
Yes. The 49ers are the 49ers, man. Like, they top tier. Like, right now, I was thinking last night before I was going to sleep. It's going to be the Cowboys or the 49ers coming out of the NFC East. That's just the Eagles officially number 3. I just, the 49ers, they got it all. They well balanced across the board. They strong at every position. They don't have a weakness. I knew Brandon Ayuk was going to come out with a strong performance week 1. I had high hopes for him going into this season. Like you said, Deebo is going to be Deebo. Purdy, come on, man. He built for the job. He the man for the job. And I just love what the 49ers doing. That's my concern for my boys. And the 49ers are the front runners right now.
The 49ers are tough. Like you said, they really don't have a weakness on paper, I don't think. I mean, that offense is maybe the most littered with weapons we've seen in the NFL in a long time, with McCaffrey, Ayuk, Deebo, and Kittle. I mean, that's just ridiculous. That's absolutely unfair. Moving in some players who have been a bit of a disappointment, especially this past week, Justin Fields has really, really disappointed me. He's looked rough in the pocket, and they're not letting him do these design runs. I saw a stat on Twitter today that last season, Justin Fields was doing all kinds of design runs, as we know, kind of looked like Jalen Hurts out there a little bit. This season so far, he has had 2 design runs in both games combined. Lisa, how concerned are you for Fields moving forward, not only from a real-life perspective, but for fantasy as well?
Absolutely vary in both, right? In both situations. It's the accuracy. It's also holding on to the ball too long, whether the plays are broken, whatever it is that's holding him back, that's also going to put him in the situation to get hit more. And at that point, like, just get in some yards, just use your wheels. What he does, we see it, but it's concerning. It's concerning for all of the assets there that we really believed in. When you think about DJ Moore, who only got 2 touches all week 1, we're like, what?
Oh,
You guys were talking at camp the whole summer. I was watching it on social media. I saw it. It looked great. What happened? All of that's been different, but seeing Chase Claypool resurrected to get a touchdown was like, wait a minute. Maybe this can balance back out. Maybe adding in that element. I want to believe Justin Fields is as good of a quarterback as he was last year when I watched him.
Well, I know for me, I'm going to blame it on the organization. That's where I'm going to go. Why draft a guy that high and not have a plan? One of the things that I liked about Andy Reid drafting Patrick Mahomes, because I knew Andy Reid's philosophy. He liked to spread the rock. If you go back and look at Texas Tech, that's what they do. And he built this super team around him. Enough for the Chiefs. Justin Fields, when I look at Justin Fields, he's more of a read option quarterback. Like you gotta help this style of quarterback. You gotta help him find his identity. And that's why I blame it on the Chicago Bears. It's like, come on, man, this dude is a freak of talent. We know he got wheels, we know he can throw, but we gotta find who he is. And I feel like that's the Chicago Bears' job, to get the right coach in there to do that. And that's on Eberflus, because Eberflus is defensive minded. I know he don't worry about the offensive side. So Chicago got to do a better job of finding a nice OC and a quarterback coach. If not, I'm sorry, Justin Fields. It's going to suck for you, brother.
Yeah, man, it's tough. I mean, I think a great example of doing things the right way, in my opinion, so far is what the Indianapolis Colts did. They drafted Anthony Richardson. They hired the offensive coordinator from the Eagles, who was running with Jalen Hurts. All of a sudden, Anthony Richardson's off to a great start to his career, using his legs, scoring rushing touchdowns in back-to-back weeks. That's what you need to do with a quarterback like that. Like you said, Des, recognize the talent and recognize their strengths and put them in a scheme where they can use them. I don't really know why they're trying to make Fields into a pocket passer all of a sudden. Doesn't really
Right.
make sense to me.
Does a guy like him on the move?
Yeah, absolutely. A guy I really don't feel that panicked about, but I think he's been disappointing so far is AJ Brown. Are we nervous about him at all, or we think they're just
Oh
going to figure it
no,
out?
no. We can't be nervous about him. You got to understand something. He is AJ Brown. You know, the
Of course.
Philadelphia Eagles are the Philadelphia Eagles. Like I said, I don't like them, but I can't take anything away from him. His
Right.
time is going to show up this year. To where, guess what? Oh, the world forgot about AJ Brown because the Swift keep having 100+ yards and, you know, a touchdown a game. Like, come on, AJ going to get his, and when he get his, it's going to be big performances. Only except against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. I think AJ Brown's in for, a great season still. I think he's been off to a bit of a slow start just due to some other players shining. But I will say the Eagles passing offense has not looked as good as it was last year so far. They've been dinking and dunking a little bit more. Lisa, what do you think about that?
I agree with that, but at the same time, we panic in fantasy football because we look at the numbers we're getting from AJ Brown, but we know he's going to average 7 to 10 touchdowns on the season, no matter what, as he has
Mhm.
his entire career. The great thing is he plays 17 games last season, gives us 17 games. This gives you another opportunity or two. It
Yep.
has looked different. What they are
Mhm.
doing in Philadelphia looks very different than what got Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith and got them to the Super Bowl. Looks
Yep.
very different. Is it the absence of Miles Sanders that's kind of throwing off
Mm-mm.
the comfort there or not yet?
Mm-mm.
But give me till week 3, week 4 to really, really let Jalen settle in because he starts slow a bit. And AJ will start slow because of it as well. I mean, even worse was the tight end situation week 1. We were all like, what? I get a 0?
Yeah,
No,
Dallas Goddard
Mm.
doesn't catch a ball. Are you
not
serious, dude?
one. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Well,
unbelievable. We're looking like
and
Kyle Pitts out there in Atlanta.
check it out. I'm not trying to ride the Eagles wave because again, I hate these guys. But what I notice is the run game. The run game is way more dominant than it was last year. So that's
Mhm.
gonna take away from the pass. So we can't lose track of that. So I think that is more efficient for Jalen Hurts. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I understand that for sure. I think the thing is
yeah.
too, though, Des, is I've seen some of his passing charts and seeing where his attempts are lined on the field. Left side, right side, depth of pass, and all that kind of stuff, depth of target, and it looks a lot different than last year. I've seen some side by side screenshots and stuff on Twitter
Mhm.
from folks who are diving deep into the stats and the analytics and stuff, and it seems a lot more short than it was last year. Less downfield, less AJ Brown. I mean, it depends. Like I said, they lost their play caller from last season. That's something that's really going to change the makeup of the offense, kind of like the Chiefs and the Commanders. You know what I mean? Like changing that offensive coordinator, changing the play calling, changing the scheme changes a lot. So
Yep.
I'm not nervous, really, but I think it's definitely something to keep an eye on as far as the usage and utilization. But Lisa said something a second ago that's going to be a perfect transition for this.
Mhm.
Hurts maybe starting a little slow. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals did not look great again this week. Jamar Chase is not being targeted at all. Des, what's your take on what's going on
I
over in
mean,
Cincinnati
I'm
right
gonna be
now?
honest. What happened with the Bengals the past 2 years? Can anybody tell me?
Started off slow, ended off red hot.
What was the record?
Good.
They didn't start off with good records. So what I'm saying is like the Cincinnati Bengals, they do this every year. Burrow's been doing this every year. Start off sucky, then somehow end up in the AFC Championship in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Like I have no worries. These guys are high power. You get
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Joe Burrow gonna come up. He's gonna live out to that contract because he is who he is. We don't have to worry about those big monsters at receiver. We know they're gonna get there. They some of the best receivers in the league. Like we spoke about earlier, Miss Lisa. Each one of those guys are ones, number ones on a different team.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Burrow has dealt with something strange before each season. It was what his appendix last year. There
Yep.
was an injury the
Mm-hmm.
year before. So he is kind of used to the beginning of the season is also part of his recovery time. So this is probably normal protocol to him. As viewers, you panic because remember your recency bias is how great they were at the end of the season, how electrifying it is. But coming up lame again and making me believe but I want that well-paid man relying on a Theragun on the sideline for his calf yesterday. That could give me a little bit of stress. I'm not lying.
I
Yeah,
understand.
I think he's going to figure it out, no problem. And I will say the Bengals offense started to click a bit more in the second half
Uh-huh.
of that game. So I think maybe next week they might start riding the wave, riding the momentum a little bit. It was nice to see T. Higgins bounce back with a nice
Yes.
20-plus fantasy point performance after putting up a goose egg in week 1.
Yep.
That was great. I just need to see Jamar Chase starting to click. I need to see
You're gonna
Jamar
see it.
Chase.
You're gonna see it. You're
I
gonna
know
see
we're
it.
going to see it. We're going to see it. But right now, I'm a little bit nervous. Dez, take the floor, brother. And Lisa, and you're also a Dallas Cowboys fan. So, Lisa, Dez, talk about the Cowboys for a little bit. I'll shut my mouth.
Let's go, Lisa. You
You
go.
start. I know you
No,
have a
you
lot to
start.
say. You start.
You start. Now I'm gonna allow you to start. You got this one. You got this one.
First and foremost, I think we go way back right here and say, how damn good does it feel to see Michael Irvin back on the NFL Network every Sunday where he belongs?
Yes.
And the most comforting part of the way this season started was that being worked out. Okay, so let's
Yes.
go there because he represents all things Dallas Cowboys, and that was a situation that none of us wanted to have him managing or dealing with.
Right.
Dak, I'm a bit worried. I haven't seen enough offense, but I know he's going to do it. He's getting it out there. Tony Pollard, not worried at all. CeeDee Lamb, he makes my heart sing.
Yeah.
The moves, the catches, I want to freeze frame it. I want to watch it from every angle. I'll go back and watch again. You know what I mean? And if we can get these young tight ends, if like we did yesterday, you're going to drop the ball
Ferguson
sometimes.
balling.
He's balling. But you remember times like fumbles happen. You can't give up on a player. We saw Travis Kelce do that for Tooney yesterday, which we thought was going to happen. But I feel real good about the Cowboys, and especially since we're facing Arizona. But I think we thought differently of Arizona 2 weeks ago. So this is no longer a get right game. It's no longer an automatic win. It's still going to be a battle for the
It's gonna be
Cowboys.
a battle. It's gonna be a battle. Well, these Dallas Cowboys. Oh my gosh. Just to piggyback just off of what you said, CD is coming in hot. He's an 88. I'm proud. I'm proud to be a part of the 88 club. It means a lot. You got Pollard, not worried at all. This dude, he just pick up where he left off. Dak, all Dak got to do is just relax them shoulders, man. Let you just give the ball to the playmakers and watch them do work, and you just reap all the benefit. It's so exciting. And Michael Parsons, I can't believe I almost forgot about him. Michael Parsons, the best NFL player. He's the best NFL player, period.
And Vander Esch had a great slam down yesterday early on in the game, too. I hope you caught it. Just felt right. It's like a wrestling move. It's like get out of my way. And I'm like,
I love
right.
Vander Esch's neck roll thing, man. I love that. It looks so vintage
The
and
old school.
I love it, bro. He's a lot of fun to watch. I actually really was hoping the Steelers drafted him back when he got drafted, but I love watching him play.
Hey, he had some down years, but he done resurrected it for sure. And
Absolutely.
It's that shout out to Coach Dan Quinn, man. Just shout out to him because what he's doing. Look, it's no Cowboys without Dan Quinn. Yeah, I said it. It's no Cowboy. It's no great Cowboy team without Dan Quinn. We don't see.
You really don't think this town could put it together without him?
No, hell no, hell no.
Okay. That's
hell
interesting.
No. And I love my boys, but see, and what most people don't know, I'm really a defensive guy. Believe it or not.
What?
I was a safety. I started off playing safety. Yeah, I was a ball hawk, but so
you turned out to be a ball hawk on the offensive side pretty okay, I think.
Well, see, I got switched over there because I kept, the quarterback couldn't complete a pass in practice, so that's how that happened. And I was intercepting everything in the game, and our receivers wasn't making plays.
A
little quick story there.
Yeah.
Defensive coach said, "Hey, your ball skills are too good to be on defense. Get on offense."
Yeah, it was just like that.
That's a funny story. What age did you get switched over?
I was a freshman.
In high school?
Yeah, freshman in high school.
Wow, that's honestly a lot older than I would be expecting.
Yeah.
How different was the attention that came off once you're no longer on the line and you're the star wide receiver? I'm curious. Popularity grows like that. The line doesn't get as much love as the receivers or the quarterbacks, running backs. We know this.
That's right. But I'm gonna be honest with you. So you asked me like how I felt when I played.
How different was the attention you got for being the star wide receiver at your high school as opposed to a safety?
Oh man, like I'm gonna be honest with you. I really never thought about it like that. You just really just put that, in my brain. I just like playing football. I love the game. I never let anything come in between it. The only thing that we could say that for another time, but I just love the game, Miss Lisa. Like, I didn't really care about what came with it. I just wanted to make plays. I just wanted to put on for the fans and just have fun.
I love that. I love that. That's also a really interesting story too. Thinking about positional changes when you were getting older and
Oh,
stuff.
and it kept
Did
me
you?
out of trouble.
Okay, yeah. I mean
Yeah.
that's true too. But were you upset about changing away from defense at first?
I mean, nah, because I was one of those guys. Wherever you need me at, coach, I'm coming. I
Right.
watched a lot of football growing up. Randy Moss, that's my favorite player. Then it's Percy Harvin coming in at number 2.
Percy Harvin's so fun, man.
Yeah,
Underrated for sure.
very, very underrated. He battled with some things early in his career. The world didn't get to see, who he really, was as a football player. He is him. So
I love that. Did you ever play both ways?
yes, yes, yes,
How
yes.
was that conditioning wise?
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. So just to see Travis Hunter do that
Yep.
was incredible.
Yep. Shout out to Travis Hunter. How do you feel about that hit on him, by the way?
Come on, it was targeting.
Yeah,
Clearly it
it was
was targeting.
ridiculous.
Like, come on, man. Like it was so much heat leading up to that game. Come on, man. It's clear. Like, you ask me, Colorado State should be getting investigated right now for that
Really?
hit. Hell yeah, because
Wow.
it was clear as day that somebody said, hey, go out there and target him.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that play looked like.
Yeah. I mean, that was disgusting. Out for a few weeks. Travis Hunter doing special stuff over there in college football in Colorado, looking like the Shohei Ohtani of football right now. I love it. It's awesome. All right, moving in here real quick. Recap for the the X Games Personal Corner Fantasy League. Des, did you see the text I sent you the other day, by the way?
No, I didn't look at it.
I texted you before kickoff to take Brandon Cooks out of your lineup because he was out, and you didn't.
Well, I was busy, bro.
I know you were, but you gotta set that lineup, Des. There's 25K on the line, man.
Well, look, I already look.
He's
We
not worried
won
about it.
after the draft. I knew I wasn't winning, so I was like, let me just focus on something else.
Yeah, you had the tailgate going on. Hey,
Right.
talk about that real quick. Talk about the tailgate experience.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely phenomenal. Shout out to Les Barbecue. If you never had it, if you ever down in Utah, please go check him out. He make the best oxtails. He called them candy red. They look like candy red apples, and they are outstanding. They great. So if you're in Utah, check out Les Barbecue. But yeah, like, just overall, all of the Cowboy fans came out. Miss Lee saying, you got to come to one. You have to come to one of these tailgates. It's pretty cool. Like, it's gonna get better as the year progresses. Like, it was way better than I can even imagine. You know how the
Yeah.
Cowboy fans do it. They come
Yeah.
out and show love. The radio
course.
station came out. It was a
Nice.
good time. It was a great time.
And the weather was good.
Yes, it was hot as hell, but
Okay.
it was
better than
I mean, that's
raining.
Dallas.
Yeah, that's Dallas. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked
So-
amazing. I can't wait to make it out there myself. Never been to a Cowboys game. Never really been to Dallas ever. So I think that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Yeah, shout out again to Les Barbecue. I was drooling looking at the videos on Instagram on my phone. It looks unbelievable. And real quick, I would just like to say before we move on from the PC, the X Games Fantasy League, I am 2-0. Shout out and coming for that 25K. Team put up over 140 points this week in a 14-team league. I'm feeling pretty good.
Shout
I got
out
Nick
to
Chubb
Luke.
rolling out there tonight still. We're going crazy. Smashed my opponent this week. Shout out to Behavioral B. I'm so sorry, but not really.
No, he's not.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. You're right. You're damn right. But moving on here real quick before we get out of here, this weekend we have another fantastic slate of NFL games. Let's all give a sleeper pick for the games this weekend. I'll go first here while y'all collect your thoughts. Mac Jones. They're playing the New York Jets, but it's a divisional game. Mac Jones has looked very comfortable so far this season. It's a sleeper pick for a reason. I think that he's a guy who struggled last year with Joe Judge and Matt Patricia calling his plays on offense, two guys who are not known for being offensive play callers at all. You actually hire a serious offensive play caller this time in Bill O'Brien to come over here. He looks a lot more comfortable. They still don't have a clear-cut number one wide receiver, in my opinion. I think Kendrick Bourne is a pretty good player. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is a pretty good player, former Steeler. I think Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke are some reliable targets there. Hunter Henry is a good player, but they don't have that elite guy. They don't have an A.J. Brown. They don't have a C.D. Lamb or a Terry McLaurin like all their other divisional rivals. Oh, sorry, that's NFC East. AFC East, you have Stephon Diggs and Garrett Wilson and all these other amazing playmakers. They don't have those over in New England. But Mac Jones still looks comfortable. He's spreading the ball out. He's been going for over 200 passing yards pretty consistently so far this year. I like Mac Jones as a nice bounce back candidate this season. I think he's going to have a good game against the New York Jets' tough defense, and I think they're going to come out with a win this weekend. That's my prediction. Dez, who you got for me? Sleeper pick.
I'm going to go with Jamar Chase.
As a sleeper pick, Dez, he's like the best wide receiver.
But as a comeback, because he hasn't been getting it for the past 2 weeks. Yeah, I can see it.
You know, like we don't expect that from Jamar Chase. So
we don't.
Yeah, so they going against my boy Kevin team. I'm sorry, Kevin, but they're gonna smack him. I think Jamar Chase put up 150 plus with 3 touchdowns, and I think Joe Burrow also performed. And I think T. Higgins put up 1 too. So that's 28 points that I'm saying that the Bengals are gonna put up. You know,
so we're calling 4 touchdowns, 3 by Jamar, 1 by T.
Yep, and I think 300. You know, over 300 for Mr. Joe Burrow.
I would love to see that. That would make me very, very happy. Not as a Steelers fan, but as an NFL fan / fantasy football fan, of course. Lisa, what do you got for us?
I'm going to do kind of the same thing. I'm going to pick a player right here that just given us what we expected. I'm going to keep it in the home squad right here. I'm going to go with Michael Gallup. It is your turn, young man. You are going to go out there. Now, look, if somebody has Odell Beckham on their team and they're thinking a little bit about this injury, is he banged up? How will he be? Are you going to play him? I bet you might have Michael Gallup. And if you don't, get him off your waiver wire because he's already been dropped.
Yep, 100%. I like that call a lot. And I will say, too, about Michael Gallup, somebody in the comment section of our show right now actually asked, should the Cowboys consider trading Michael Gallup? What do you guys think about that?
All I'm going to say is this right here. I'm not shocked. I'm not going to be shocked at all. You know, like I said, that number 3 receiver spot is for the taking. I think the Cowboys are looking to win right now. So, and the Cowboys are going to do what fits. So if it doesn't fit, it's one of those things that we don't know. It's not fitting the way they see it. So it can happen. I wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I need to know, like, for what, for who, for when, right? Are we doing something for right now?
Let's say they could get a 5th round pick for him. Would you do it?
Man, no, I want something right now. That's like a dynasty draft. Why am I doing that? That's for next year. If I'm going to get rid of somebody that already knows the system and has had, some success averaging 5 touchdowns on the season and adding to the offense, rather than bring somebody in and force them to adjust, like, unless it was a dynamic playmaker, but we can't afford that.
Tolbert.
In a 5th round, we just can't,
You big Jalen Tolbert fan, Dez?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think he's done just as much as Michael Gallup since the season started, if not a little bit more. You know, that's why I'm not shocked. I can see Tolbert becoming that 3. I don't think we really hurting at the receiver position at the number 3 spot, especially if the Cowboys go out and perform how they performed this past week.
Dez, I have one more thing to talk about with the Dallas Cowboys real quick. Well, and you, Lisa. Deuce Vaughn got out there last week. He got a few carries. 5.3 a carry, 3 carries for 16 yards with a long of 13 yards. Lisa, would you like to say Deuce Vaughn get more carries? Rico Dowdle, or is that how you pronounce his last name? 7 carries for 26 yards in front of him, 3.7 yards per carry. Tony Pollard had 2.9 per carry. Deuce Vaughn comes in 5.3 a carry. You think we're going to see him get a bigger role?
I think a mediocre role. How much work can you give him at that size, right? He's perfect in very specific situations, but he's not a player that you want to break down so you don't have him when you need him. We're not relying on him. We're utilizing him. And I think he has a lot of value there. I think that size plays a huge advantage. And he's got a very unique pounding kind of running style that doesn't last well. He's not going to be out there burning off 70 yards. That's Tony Pollard's work. But he's going to be out there in the red zone and just getting us, just moving the chains.
He's a little miniature Barry Sanders. I know I'm putting him. That's how I look at him. He's a miniature Barry Sanders, and he do have that ability to where he's a home run hitter. So just like Miss Lisa said, like that role. He's in a nice role. That benefit us greatly.
Yeah, I love that comp. I honestly really do. He's a lot of fun, man. He's electric out there. He really is. He is mini Barry Sanders in the sense of, hey, listen, if you give him a sturdy arm tackle, he might drop, but he's probably going to make you miss a couple times before you get him. So I love that. I think he definitely has a role to play in this Cowboys offense. I think they definitely could have a very interesting 2-back package with him and Pollard out there. I think they also can get him involved in the passing game pretty well as well. Like Lisa's mentioned, his size could be an advantage in certain scenarios. So I definitely think it makes sense for them to use him every once in a while out there on the field. And I think he's a capable playmaker. I think he's a guy who can plug and play if you need, a few yards in a pinch, give him a screen pass, get him out of the ball in space. He's a playmaker. He can make a guy miss for sure. So I'm definitely interested to see how his season progresses moving forward. Lisa, did you give us a sleeper pick for this week? Oh yeah, Michael Gallup.
Dallas Cowboys, Michael Gallup. That's
Michael
where I
Gallup.
went.
My
I kept it
apologies.
really
That's how we went on
simple.
that whole rabbit hole about Deuce
Yeah,
Vaughn and
that's
trading
exactly.
him and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, that's all we have this week for the High Point Huddle. Dez, is there anything you want to say to the people before we bring it home?
Man, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Miss Lisa Ann, for tapping in with us. Extremely dope. Hopefully we can do it again. Shout out to you, Luke, as always.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, the way your knowledge, your little nerdy brain about this game is just, just amazing to listen to. So, yeah, so great show. Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
Thank you
you.
to the
you. Yeah,
community.
thank you, Dez, and thank you, Luke, for reaching out and inviting me on. Luke is doing such a great job with putting this all together, the show plan, everything. Absolutely loved it. I'll come back anytime. And most important, let's go Cowboys.
Let's go Cowboys, I guess. And hey, we need to get you out to a tailgate like Dez mentioned. That would be amazing. Got to do it.
Please,
Got to
I'm
do it.
begging you. Let's make it happen. The
Can
Let's
we
make it
fans
pick a
happen.
will go
place with
crazy.
nice weather? Let's just have some nice weather, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Let's
Make sure we
do
got
it.
that nice
Yep,
weather, and then Lisa will make an appearance.
yep.
Sounds
Let's
great.
get it.
All right. I appreciate everyone so much for tuning into another episode of the High Point Huddle. This will be streaming on Spotify podcast ASAP. Make sure to check us out over on YouTube as well. We'll be linking that on social media all across every single platform that we have. Make sure you guys drop a subscribe over there, and we'll have a bunch of more content coming soon. We continue to ramp up and only get better over here at Personal Corner and High Point. Big things coming soon, and make sure you check out Dez Bryant's Big Dallas Tailgates. We're doing them every Dallas Cowboys home game. Going to get bigger and better every single time. Appreciate everyone for